You're 1 seconding. So in terms of the run of show, we're going to discuss summer travel in general. We're going to talk about the common mistakes people make, which right here is what you're seeing. And afterward, if you want to film some B-roll at the checkpoint, we'll let you do that for sure. And we're available for one-on-ones afterward. Okay? My name is Lisa Farbstein. And my name is at the top of the news release in my email, Lisa Farbstein, F-A-R-B-S-T-E-I-N. I'm a spokesperson with the TSA. And Eric Guthier, sorry, spell it.
G-U-T-H-I-E-R.
Okay, so, and when you do one-on-ones with him, he'll say that again for you as well. So what I want to start out with is reminding people that we're still in a pandemic, but we're starting to see an increase in the number of passengers. More people are vaccinated, more people are boosted, and there's clearly a pent-up demand for travel. So many people haven't traveled since before the pandemic, or they maybe have only traveled once or twice. So because of that, people are, well, they're a little rusty. And oftentimes they're forgetting what some of the protocols are at the security checkpoint. One of the common mistakes we're seeing is very easily avoidable, and that is what you see right here. So how many days worth of prohibited items do you see here?
That is 1 day.
1 day. In 1 day, all of these large liquids, gels, and aerosols were brought to the TSA checkpoint. If you want to bring a liquid gel or aerosol to the checkpoint, we have a rule. It's called 3-1-1. 3.4 ounces or smaller, 1 quart-sized bag, 1 bag per person. 3.4 ounces is 100 milliliters, and that is the international standard. So that's where we get 3.4. 1 stands for 1 quart-sized bag, so all your small liquids, gels, and aerosols need to fit in a 1 quart-sized bag. And then the last one is 1 bag per person. So 3-1-1, 3.4 ounces, 1 quart-sized bag, 1 bag per person. However, what we're seeing is people bringing larger liquids, gels, and aerosols. Clearly, the most common are beverages. So when you look over here, what you see are lots of bottles of water, soda, energy drinks, and the like. So what you should do is when you come to the checkpoint, if your bag triggers an alarm, the TSA officer is going to have to remove the bag from the x-ray belt, have you come over to the side, open your bag, and identify and remove the item that has triggered the alarm. Okay? When in the case of a beverage, you can go back to the public side of the checkpoint and finish your beverage, or maybe finish part of it. Maybe you just want to drink half of your water bottle, spill out the rest. But a good tip is to bring the empty water bottle back. You can bring an empty bottle back through a checkpoint and then fill it up on the secure side of the checkpoint, and that way you're actually saving a few bucks, because otherwise you're probably paying more for those bottles of water than you are for a gallon of gas. So think of it that way. Other common things we're seeing at this time of year, without a doubt, we're seeing lots of sunblock. So again, if you're carrying sunblock, you want to make, in a carry-on bag, you want to make sure that it's 3.4 ounces or smaller and fits in that bag. We also see lots of things like gels, creams. You know, here's even Nutella. We see a lot of people traveling as well with peanut butter, and these are spreadable. So how do you know if something is considered a liquid gel or aerosol? If you can spill it, spread it, spray it, pump it, or pour it, then it is considered a liquid gel or aerosol. And then it should fit into that smaller 3-1-1 bag. Another common thing we see is toothpaste. So same thing, use your small toothpaste. Most grocery stores, pharmacies, you know, a CVS, a Walgreens, a Rite Aid, they sell travel-sized toiletries. So keep that in mind. I also just want to point out that while we do see lots of body sprays and hair care products, they're not just women's products. We do see men's products as well. And here's an example of a men's body spray. But we do see men's products, so it's not just the ladies. Okay? So again, 3-1-1. The other thing to keep in mind is every one of the items you see on this table could go in a check bag. Put them in a check bag. Okay? The other thing is, think about it. A lot of people do not want to check a bag because they incur a cost. So let's say, for the sake of discussion, that it costs $30 to check a bag. So that's $60 round trip. So again, let's look at the sunblock. Okay. So think of it this way. If you're going someplace super sunny and you're going to want to bring sunblock, think about it. Do you want to take a large one with you and put that in your check bag, thus paying $60 to transport it round trip? Or maybe, if that's the only reason you've got a check bag, consider buying it at your destination, right? Because if you spend even $15 on your sunblock at your destination, and when you're done, leave it there, it's only cost you $15, it hasn't cost you $60 to transport it in a check bag. So keep that in mind as well. That's another good tip. So that's one of the common mistakes. Also, we know that people like to travel with their firearms on occasion. So switch spots. Thanks. So when you're traveling with a firearm, I want to make the point, TSA is super glad to transport your firearm. There's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. The wrong way to do it is to bring it to a security checkpoint. Never bring a firearm to a security checkpoint. Don't bring an unloaded one, don't bring a loaded one. Even if you have a concealed carry permit, it cannot go through the checkpoint. You should never have a firearm in a cabin of the plane. So to pack it, what you want to do is you want to start with your firearm, make sure it's unloaded. That's the first key. Make sure it's unloaded. All right? If you're traveling with ammunition, you want to make sure it's in its original box. This box holds 50 rounds. So even if you only have like 4 bullets left in there, that's okay. You still want to have it in its original box. Okay? You put it into the gun case. It's got to be a hard-sided gun case. Then you lock the case, and I'll show you that demonstration momentarily. Then you take it and you bring it to your airline check-in counter. Your airline check-in counter is going to give you some very short paperwork, right? They're going to ask you to fill that out. Basically, you're signing that you have the right documentation, you have the right permits, that it's unloaded, and you're following the appropriate regulations. So it doesn't take but more than 30 seconds to fill out this paperwork that the airline is going to give you. And then you basically are declaring that you want to fly with your firearm. The airline will make sure that it gets packed inside of the belly of the plane to be transported with the other check baggage. So you've got your unloaded gun. You've got your box of ammunition. You put it in a hard-sided case. All right, it's got to be a hard-sided case. It can't be a canvas case with a zipper. You see that this gun case has a hole here for the lock. You're going to want to put that lock on the case when you're presenting it to the airline. And again, the airline will make sure it is safely transported. When you bring a firearm to a checkpoint, it's going to go through the X-ray machine. And I'm pretty sure those TSA officers are going to be able to spot it. Then what happens is we call law enforcement. Police come over to the checkpoint, and they're going to remove the carry-on bag from the X-ray machine because we don't even want our TSA officers handling firearms. It's just an accident waiting to happen. So the police will remove the carry-on bag, and they will have the traveler come off to the side. They will confiscate the item. So, if you don't want your gun confiscated, you want to pack it properly. Okay? I showed you that my gun case, but there are several different varieties of gun cases. Just like there are different models of cars that work with your personality, there are different gun cases that fit your personality as well. So here's one. This specific one has a cutout for the firearm, for the magazines, the trigger lock. So that's kind of a nice one as well. Here's a nice sleek one, a nice sleek design. It's a stainless steel case. It has a built-in lock. And that one is, just another type of option. So it's not just the kind that I showed you here. The same thing works if you're traveling with a hunting rifle. So they make longer cases. You want to probably on your rifle case put several locks so nobody can pry the gun or pry the case open to pull the gun out. Okay. So here's somebody who packed their firearm, their rifle, the wrong way. Okay. You might think you could be a better shot at golf, but honestly, this is not a safe way to transport a rifle in a golf bag, and so this did not fly. So you want to pack all firearms, whether they're long guns or handguns, you want to pack them properly. Now, if you're unsure of how to pack something, where should it go, TSA offers several suggestions. So TSA is very good about providing assistance in know before you go. Know what you're bringing in your carry-on bag and your check bag, and the idea is You don't want to have anything prohibited. So one of the ways is that we have a free downloadable app. It's called My TSA. It's got this great feature. I got to tell you, I use it all the time. It's called Can I Bring? You type in the item and it will let you know right away whether you should pack it in your check bag, your carry-on bag, either or neither. All right, so it's early June, but a month from now is July 4th holiday. So you know what? You type in fireworks, you type in sparklers, and it will let you know you actually cannot bring fireworks or sparklers in a carry-on bag or a check bag because they are highly flammable. But let's say you're going on a really long trip and you're going to be on the plane for a long time. And so maybe you want to bring your knitting with you. But can I bring my knitting needles? So you type it right in there and it will let you know, yeah, you actually can bring your knitting needles on a plane. So it's a very helpful, handy tool. TSA is as well, TSA is very active on social media. And we've got a really good team, and that team has a Twitter account called @AskTSA. So you can tweet them a question. Can I bring my Nutella on the plane? And they will let you know that that needs to be packed in your check bag. So they're also very active on Facebook Messenger. So with Facebook Messenger and with Twitter @AskTSA, TSA is very active on social media. So it's important to know before you go, because if you don't and you show up at the checkpoint with a prohibited item, it will delay you several minutes. Also, another tip is if you're not enrolled in the TSA Pre-Check program, we definitely encourage that. With TSA Pre-Check, you're allowed to leave on your shoes at the checkpoint, your light outer weight jacket, you're allowed to leave on your belt, you're allowed to leave your electronics in your carry-on bag, you don't have to remove your electronics, and so that lane will go faster. Now, you might not think that's as big a deal here at Roanoke, but I can assure you, if you're flying back here from someplace like Orlando or Chicago or a large airport, that makes a huge, huge difference. So consider enrolling in the TSA Pre-Check program. It does cost money. It's $85. It's good for 5 years. That comes to about $17 a year. You know, you can go to the local coffee shop and get 2 lattes for the price of that. So keep that in mind as well. The whole idea behind TSA Pre-Check is you are pre-checked. When you enroll, you're giving us personal information about yourself, including your fingerprints and a photo, so that helps with a background check. Eric is going to talk with you a little bit about what he saw here in terms of one day and how common this sort of thing is, okay? So we can pass the mic to him, all right? So you want to help me with that? Yeah. Okay, thanks. I'm going to just mic you up, so. 1, 2. Oh, this one's, there we go. I think there's one more.
I always joke, I was like, the most we've gotten someone was 15, it was a NASCAR driver, and it was like all the way down his shirt. He's like, just look at the bill. And I'm like, okay. I'm wondering if we hook it on, we can kind of tuck it up under so he doesn't have to.
Yeah, if you want to put it and maybe have it come like
Yeah,
this.
I think that's fine. Mine hooked up first.
Before when you start singing, and then also
Oh, we did that.
so
Yours
one
sounds
more.
better than mine.
Let's see, put this back here. This is one more sheet. Put it right next to it. What do you think?
Yeah, hey, this looks good. Actually, mine, yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite a little better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just tucking it under your collar.
And then this one's a little, okay?
That one's a little, I think that'll still do.
Does that work? Okay, you guys all good? Yeah. Okay.
You're good?
All right.
Thank you.
I'll stand over here.
Wherever you like.
Stand right
All
there.
right. So my name's Eric Guthier. It's spelled Guthier. I'm a supervisory officer here at Roanoke.
How long have you been here?
At this airport, 9 years, TSA 14 years. So this was one day last week at our checkpoint out here around the corner. As Lisa said, the most common thing we see is beverages, especially this time of year as the weather gets warmer. We start to see a lot of sunblock. There's always a good amount of your hairsprays, your toothpaste, your shaving cream, shampoo, things like that. One thing we do see a lot of is people haven't left themselves enough time to check in, and they may have to bring what would have been a checked bag to the checkpoint, and all of a sudden they realize the 3 or 4 things that they had brought aren't able to go through the checkpoint. So then that's a lengthy bag check, and then we have seen people miss their flights due to the amount of liquids or gels or aerosols that they had in their bag. Trying to think what else.
So can they put these items back in their car?
Yes, so your options, if you do have these, you find yourself with these at the checkpoint, you can put them in your car, you can give them to a companion that may have dropped you off that isn't traveling, you can go back out into the public area and dump them out. Something like this, you'd go to a drinking fountain or the restroom, you can throw items away and then come back through. You can dump these out and bring the bottle through, as Lisa said, or you can choose to essentially abandon them at the checkpoint and then they're disposed of.
So they're just trash?
Yes.
All of that's trash?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions for him while he's mic'd up?
What's the weirdest thing that you've seen try to go through?
At this airport, it's hard. They all kind of run together. It's hard to pick one. At a previous airport, I've seen a harpoon come into the checkpoint. I worked in Alaska. Different cultural foods that would be very odd down here, but harpoon is probably the one that stands out.
How often does this happen? How often is it that somebody is taking something out of their bag?
Something like this?
Yeah.
Well, this was one day, and this is a little under, it's about 100 items, and that day we had about 1,200 passengers, so it's about 1 out of every 10, 11 people. If you happen to get 3 or 4 people in line all together that have different bag checks, that can kind of grind things to a halt. That's kind of where we run into trouble.
I was going to say, about how long does it take kind of to go through a bag check?
It depends how involved it is. If someone has 7 or 8 items and they're all throughout the bag, it can take a while to find them, and then it can take a while for that person to then pack their bag back up. So it just all depends on how many there are and how easy they are to find.
Besides time, what's another negative impact that comes with people bringing products that they're not supposed to?
It's a danger factor. If you get a bag with, you can have a certain small amount of, say, the aerosols. If you get a bag with 5, 6, 7 of these, that's a lot of flammable items all in one tiny little area. And so there's that factor as well.